Happy Thursday afternoon. It's Dr. Palmer. I am waiting for another physician to join me. We are going to talk about stuff that's salient for the Christmas holiday. Oh, there she is. How are you?
Hi. I'm great. How are you?
I am good. You know what? I'm so excited to talk to you today about this because um, it couldn't be more salient. For those of you out there who don't know me, I'm Dr. Karen Palmer. I'm the CEO, founder, and physician here at Pure Joy Pediatrics in Portland, Oregon. And I see some of my patients out there. Yeah, good to see you. And we are actually going live with Dr. Moore, who I will allow to introduce herself. We're going to be talking about something super salient for the holiday season, which is how to not even get through it, but how to really feel successful as a busy working mom, and to do all the things, because we all know, like, before the end of the year, like, everything just kind of comes together. And so I thought I would bring on somebody that has really helped me get it together and feel more successful in all of the roles that I balance on a daily basis. So, Dr. Moore, introduce yourself a little more.
Well, it's so nice to see you on a weekday. I am Dr. Johanna B. Moore. I am a pathologist and I also am a certified life coach. I own a coaching company called She Is Money, and in She Is Money, we, the successful, high-achieving women in She Is Money, all focus on making more money with less hustle and ditching all of the distractions and all of the overwhelm that we all feel and focusing on what's truly essential so that we're happy with our lives and with our jobs.
Yes, I think we all need a little more of that. So Dr. Moore has been an essential part of me, of this past year, really just kind of building the business and being able to present to all of you a fun little practice with a physician who's like happy and, you know, feels pretty accomplished. But, you know, it's funny because I think even though we keep talking and I keep getting coached, like, it feels like on a daily basis, just kind of readjusting things to make sure that, like, all the balls that I'm juggling all kind of stay up in the air. I think I get better at it. But I wanted to bring Dr. Moore on because, it is like the holiday season, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, and by the way, like wrapping up end of year projects. Sometimes it's like getting taxes ready for the end of the year. Sometimes it's just like being really, really busy at work. And then on top of that, I'm a mom. Dr. Moore is a mom. We've got all of the other obligations. So I don't know about you, but like, this is the first year in a long time that I actually decorated Christmas cookies for the teachers and had them all packaged up, in addition to actually showing up at my day job and, being a physician. And then I just came running to this Instagram live from another meeting. So, like, the experience of busy mom and successful at work is it's a real thing. So how do we dissect this so that we kind of feel like we're doing all of the things that we want to do, and that we're being successful at it and not dropping the ball somewhere, like forgetting a child at school, which actually I did that yesterday. It's a pretty consistent thing. So on Wednesdays, I can't get used to this early release thing. So fortunately, I have some good people in my life that bail me out and will go pick up my child when I forget him at school. But how do we do this? Help us out.
Well, the good thing is that no matter how many times you forget about them, they always seem to show up again. So,
You mean the kids?
well, I think one thing about you in particular, Kieran, and maybe some of your clients don't know this, and some of your patients and their parents don't know this about you, but you have really done a lot of work in order to make that space so that you have the opportunity to make cookies for your teachers. And, that's one of the things that we work on all the time in our group is, really figuring out what is totally essential for you, not just for your boss or your clients or the other people around you who need things from you, but what is essential for you. And in your case, you made a lot of changes so that it was possible for you to find that time. And I think that's really important for all moms and dads out there to remember, is that you have so many choices when it comes to your life, and there's so many things that you don't have to do. And one example for me is just even this morning, my kids had a book report due. And of course, even though I delegated the work to our babysitter, I woke up and I looked and I reviewed the instructions, and I found that there were a lot of things they didn't do. So the last minute, when I was supposed to leave work before 8, it was 7:45, and I was helping them with their reports, and they did not want to do it. So I had a choice at that time to get upset at them and leave in a rush, or to just push off what I thought was really important in my day, and to actually give them that love and that support, and to give them the extra 15 points that they didn't do. And so I missed a meeting that initially was really important for me, but then afterwards, it didn't make any difference in my day. So obviously, even though I thought it was essential, it wasn't essential. And so that's really important. And I came up with 3 things that I thought that maybe your parents might want to know and like think about during the day, especially going into the holidays, is that, I think that the most important thing about success through the holidays is, number one, knowing what is important, really important, like I said in my story, but also being able to do it and actually prioritize it. So the first thing is, when it comes to your job, really make sure that you're very, very careful with your boundaries and you have a clear separation of work and play. And that will just help you organize your time at work. If you only have 6 hours at work that day, then like you got to get the stuff done. And so just really being honoring that part of you, and believing in yourself that you can actually live up to that challenge of like, this next hour is work and then I have to go pick up my kids. And instead of like worrying about the fact that you don't have that much time, just let it all go and just do the work that you can do. And that's all you really can do, is try not to stress about it and try to actually get the work done. Because that's the easiest way we procrastinate, right? Is like, I'm so worried about it, I don't want to do it. And then we scroll and then our time is over and we didn't do anything.
Right. Or we talk about it, but we don't do it. Or we disturb our own workflow during the workday when we could actually get that work done, in order to avoid having to take something home to finish, because it's nearly impossible to finish things at home when you have kids running around.
Yeah, it's impossible. Or in the middle of the night when you should be sleeping, you wake up early to get it done, and that's the worst.
Oh, that's the worst. I know people out there that do that. Yeah, I used to subscribe to that idea. I don't do that anymore.
Me too. Me too. And
that's an old bad habit.
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't do that. I'm just late now. But one thing that I know both of us subscribe to is that if you really are having a hard time getting your mindset right and getting focused on what you have to do, taking a couple of minutes to just do a couple yoga moves or do a little meditation, just that really will reset your mind and allow you to, get focused and do what you can do, at least, for the 45 minutes instead of an hour.
Yeah, no, it's for a little while there, I was not regularly meditating for about a week, and I just really kind of felt like things were falling apart a little bit in my head, and it just felt like there were so many things to do, because there really are. I think in our busy lives, like the lives that we've chosen, the tasks that we need to do to keep all of that afloat, it's really easy to feel like things are like just overwhelming and too much. But I found that like a regular meditation practice actually really kind of sharpened my brain a little bit better, so that I was able to remember all the things a little bit better. I forget my son a lot less at school when I'm meditating regularly, and like I don't forget the things I needed to pick up at the supermarket and things like that. So I do find, and actually Dr. Moore has a really terrific like a membership that you can like sign up for and get access to regular meditations. I think it's also on your Instagram Live, and that's kind of how I started, because I was like, man, I'm doing all the things. I know I really try to be productive, but I feel like the regular meditation practices really kind of help me. One, appreciate life and the things that I see a lot more. I like actually stop to, really kind of enjoy the moment, but also too, just like get my mind in order so that I can get all the things done. Cause I, as a business owner and physician and mom, like I have, like everybody else out there, a long list of things that need to be done. And it really does help me like prioritize. So yeah, definitely kudos for meditation. It's been super helpful. Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Yeah, for sure. And if anybody out there is listening and wants a little bit more information about that, I'm happy to share some of my most popular meditations. If you just shoot me a DM and I'll get that to you. The other thing is that once you separate work from play, it's really important to prioritize based on your values and your boss's values or your client's values. Those are two different things. And I always think of the Eisenhower matrix, which is the one that says like what's important and what's urgent. And then you split it into categories. Like the most important urgent things obviously are the things that you should focus on, get done. And then there's the important things that aren't that urgent. And those are things that you have to schedule and make sure that you know that there's a time in the near future that you can get to them and that you've already dedicated that space. But it doesn't have to be right now before Christmas. And then the ones that are really urgent, but let's see, are urgent but not important, like the things that other people are telling you you have to do, those are a really good point for you to figure out who you can delegate it to. And one thing that I like to delegate, I try really hard to delegate, is wrapping Christmas presents, because obviously that's super urgent, but not important when it comes to the bottom line. So I like try my hardest. I ask like all my neighbors' kids, like, do you want to pick up $20 and wrap my Christmas presents?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I tried to get my babysitter to do it, but she said she doesn't know how and she bags all of her presents. So I was and then the last one is, well, what's not urgent and what's not important that you're thinking about on your list. And most of those things, honestly, you could just delete. Like, just don't do them. It's
Yes.
not worth your time.
Well, those are super helpful. And as we were talking, I was thinking there's some things that you just kind of reprioritize. Like for instance, I thought it was a great idea to host a progressive dinner, and I had about 35 people in my home, and I of course was like, it's the Christmas season, I have to have a Christmas tree up. So we got the Christmas tree up, there's lights on it, and that's it. And it's been like that for 2 weeks because my son pulled out his Lego set and is building a Lego train around the base of the tree. And he is much more interested in decorating the base with a working train and a little Santa village. And so, I keep putting off putting the ornaments up there because clearly that's not a high priority for him or for me, apparently. And so they've just been sitting in boxes. And that may be all that happens. Or it may be that they come out on Christmas Eve when I feel like I have the wherewithal. But it was more important to do the Christmas cookies. It was more important to get my charting done. It was more important to make dinner. And so, reprioritizing the things, I think kind of letting go of the expectations of like, I am not going to have a Pottery Barn Christmas living room. That just, mine has Lego bags scattered and Christmas lights up. And like I said, that may be all that happens in terms of Christmas decorations this year. But as long as we're all like happy and enjoying the holiday season in our own way, that might be something that you let go of, is like, or no bows on the gifts, or maybe you just have the babysitter bag all the gifts. I mean, that might be hard to let go of, Dr. Moore, but it's something to think about.
Maybe I should just let her pick up some bags and some tissue paper.
Costco, 20-pack. Big old tissue pack, and like it's good. You might have to, like, I don't know, put a table out or something to get all the bags on different levels. But that's, I think, how you juggle it all, like the end of year projects, the kids' Christmas programs, or the gifts for the teachers, or sometimes there aren't gifts for the teachers. This year we just did cookies. So yeah.
Yeah, and you bring up such a great point in that I think one of the most important things during this time of the year, when really it's all about believing in love and laughter and light and joy
Yeah.
and really feeling optimistic about what happened in the year and what happened next year. So
Mhm.
sometimes you might have to reframe some things that you thought were important to you, that were rules that you had to follow,
Oh yeah.
like wrapped Christmas presents or ornaments on the tree.
Right.
And maybe you just have to like sit and enjoy your son building a train instead.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. Just enjoying building the train and finding that we need new parts because apparently we don't have enough Lego pieces to build the train. I think this is just such a fun conversation. I know we have some viewers out there, and like, it's fun because like we're both physician moms, and I think maybe it was this concept that we just always have it together, and it's just like a really fun, like, candid conversation about how well, that's not always the case. And like you said, like letting go of the expectations that everything has to be just perfect. Yeah, I think I'm practicing that more. Thanksgiving, I didn't make a turkey. We did salmon, but we played soccer in the morning, and not doing the turkey actually freed me up to be able to play soccer because if you put a turkey in the oven, you're like tied to the house for like 6 hours,
Right.
which can be a really wonderful experience if you have like the family at home and you're playing board games or what have you. But when you have somebody that wants to go play soccer, having a 6 hour turkey in the oven just isn't. It just doesn't fit with the priorities of what we need to do. So
For sure.
um, yeah. So if anybody has questions out there, shoot us a question in the comments. So those are really good points. We're gonna reframe the way we think about things, and maybe reprioritize. And I like the leave, kind of really dissect and have boundaries between work and play. I think that's really tough, but if you can get your stuff done at the office so that you don't have to take it home, that's even better, right? And then delegating when you can. So yeah. Any other tips to get us through the holiday season and enjoy it? And oh, I see another mom out there. We have moms joining. We're talking
Yeah.
about, yeah,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to say we're talking about how to successfully enjoy the holidays as a busy working mom.
For sure. Yeah. Well, one thing that I've been really working on for our society that revolves more about money that I think a lot of the parents would like to hear about. It's not a very talked about concept, is the concept of how much your time is worth.
Mm.
And one activity that I recently have been looking into is how much are you really getting paid for your time? And so what you do is you take your salary, whether it's weekly or monthly or annually, and you divide it by the actual number of hours that you are working. So for Dr. Palmer, maybe it's 8 hours a day, but then you need to factor in like how long does it take for you to drive to work? How long do you chart at home? How long are you thinking or worrying about things that have to do with work, and adding those hours in? Because really, if you didn't have to work, you wouldn't be using those hours. And so you take all those hours and you divide them by your salary and you come up with your actual hourly wage. And what I found when I did it recently, after I've already optimized a lot of things in my time, is that as a physician, I only get paid like 130 hours, $130 an hour as a physician. And everyone says like physicians are high paid. Like, I don't know, you guys. And so then that puts a lot of things into perspective. Like, is it worth 138 hours for me to be sitting around at work waiting for somebody else to finish a project? Is it worth that time? And there's lots of little things that you can tweak to make that your time more valuable at work. So for instance, if you don't chart at home, if you don't worry about work at home, well, that raises your hourly salary because you're not
Mhm.
wasting that time. If
Right.
you take less time getting ready for work, even that raises your hourly value. And so just kind of thinking about that, maybe it's a little activity somebody out there wants to do on their own. And then, like you might realize that being a hairdresser would pay you more than being a physician or something like that. you know, so it's kind of puts a lot of things into perspective and gives you a chance to kind of weigh things out using numbers.
Yeah. Like sort of thinking about, are there things at home that actually would free up my time so that I can do the things that are important to me, but maybe delegate it or hire somebody to help do that, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I do end up having somebody come help me with the lawn, because if it were left up to me, it would just never get done. Because it's low priority for me to do it personally, but really kind of important, especially like if you want to keep your neighbors happy. Um, so it's something that I happily delegate. But it's good that you bring this up, because I think a lot of times during the day it's very easy to be to have distractions, and those distractions actually keep me from like doing things that like charting in particular, which I really don't want to take home, but it does end up happening, I think, for most physicians. But, my goal is really to try to get it done during the day, but I think I maybe need to prioritize that more, because that just isn't happening. So, it's just a juggling act at the end of the day, having to do all the mom stuff and then have to chart later into the night, which is not ideal either, because in order to really make this all work, a good night's sleep is actually really, really important, which we didn't really talk about. But, when I first signed up as a mom, I had a neighbor who had children, and it just seemed like kind of a common practice for moms to stay up late after the kids go to bed to get it all done. And it turns out that is not really a great sustainable practice for for the rest of your life, because your kids are going to be your kids for the rest of their lives. And so so you have to like pace yourself, otherwise you will get burnt out on the very thing that you absolutely love doing, which is being a mom. So so these days I do actually have some pretty strong boundaries about like trying to get to bed early enough. But what makes that happen for me as a physician is getting the charting done during the day. So, yeah, so whatever your profession, whatever industry you're in, look at the day and just see what the interruptions are. And if you need to take a break and then come back and sort of reposition just to to be more productive, then sometimes that's what that's what it takes, because sometimes you sit there looking at your work and not much is getting done. But anyway, well, anything else that you want to add to
Hmm.
today's session?
Well, I guess I would just add that one resource that your parents might not know about is you, actually. And one thing that I know as a friend and as a colleague is that not only is it so important for you to be taking care of the children who come to see you, but maybe even more important for you as a person is that you really want to make sure that the parents are healthy and happy and successful as well. And I think that that's very special when it comes to a pediatrician, that you really put a lot of energy and time and invest that towards your parents. So that's one thing that I think anyone listening to should really be aware of, that Dr. Palmer's, she's in your corner. And if there's anything that you ever needed, I would call her and talk to her about it, because she's a wealth of knowledge, and that's one thing that she loves doing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moore. I really appreciate all of your input this whole this whole like year and even longer that we've known each other. Dr. Moore is a fantastic coach. And sometimes like it's nice to talk to a friend, but like sometimes you just really kind of need a coach that can kind of like help you with your mindset and like the approach to solving a problem. Because in most cases, like solving that problem is within your reach. It's just sometimes the way that you're thinking about it just seems particularly challenging. And so it's good to have a coach that you can kind of bounce ideas off of. And Dr. Moore has been my coach for a while, and so I thought I should share one of my tools in my tool bag that helped me pull all of this off. Be an independent physician, entrepreneur, and working mom. And so that's why I wanted Dr. Moore to come on today. And thank you for saying that about the way that I practice, because I do think, it's funny, like there are lots of physicians out there, and a lot of times what I would hear as a pediatrician is, oh my goodness, pediatrics is so wonderful, the kids are so great, but the parents, and I'm like, but that's actually just as important as the child, right? Because I do feel that our job as pediatricians is to support the parents, because the parents are the ones that are supporting the children. And so if I leave the parents out of the picture and just look at the child, well, the care for that child will not be maximized. And so part of what we do is really kind of help support the parents, which is why we're doing this today, because I'm a working mom, and I can tell you I get a little frazzled at the end of the year. So um,
For
so
sure.
we'll talk about this at our next coaching session, Dr. Moore. But thank you so much for your time today. We had to push out the meeting a little bit because I had another meeting and a conflict and all that. So guys out there, if you're watching this now or on the replay, like, the struggle is real even for physician moms. And, come and see me at Pure Joy Pediatrics. I'm here to support you. And Dr. Moore, where can people find you?
Well, the best way to find me, since you're already here on Instagram, is to just check me out at sheismoney.llc and see what I have there. I have some meditations there. I've been doing daily affirmations, and a lot of them are related to wealth and money building and just personal self-development. And one thing I just wanted to say, just for anybody out there who doesn't know much about coaching, that coaching is something that it took me a while to get around actually calling myself that. I think as a physician, there's some stigma against that. And so I just wanted to explain the difference between a friend, a coach, and a therapist. And a friend, when you talk to a friend about your problems, they will either agree with you because they love you and they want to support you, or they will tell you not to do it because they want to keep you safe. And both of those things could be a detriment to what you truly should be doing with your life. And a therapist will help you figure out where all your problems came from, like what kind of trauma you had in the past, and help you try to put that to bed. But really, what a coach does is they deal with what you're thinking about right now and gives you the power to be able to make that change and to take everything back into your own control. So that's what we do, Kieran and I do on a weekly basis, is we go over things that she's thinking and how that can affect her results. And I think that's so important to just consider what you're doing in the now and what your lizard brain or your prior concepts about what life is supposed to be like are making you do, and you don't even really know that that's what's going on.
Yeah. And I think the great thing about having a coach is, like, you have somebody that is really more objective and is not freaking out about a decision that you made or worrying about something that you are going to do, and can just sort of say, okay, objectively, let's take a look at this. What are you thinking, and how, and how does that make you feel? And then what are you going to do? And it's been amazing. So anyway, I'm sharing my gem of a coach with you. It's so good to see you, Dr. Moore. I will see
Yeah.
you